I've done some pretty weird things to save money over the years. I've switched phone companies and banks multiple times within a single year to save a few dollars a month on fees. I've opened up dozens of credit cards just to get discounts and sign-up bonuses. I spent nearly 5 years sitting on the cheapest and most uncomfortable couch in the entire world, and at times I've even washed out and reused Ziploc bags. Now, maybe those things sound perfectly reasonable to you, or maybe they sound way too extreme. But in either sense, while it may be true that every bit definitely adds up over time, if you've been feeling like no matter how hard you try to pinch your pennies or stretch your dollars, you're just not really making any ground with your savings, that's probably because it's true. I say this as somebody who's always been a natural saver and who's always been pretty good at it too, but saving money doesn't really work. I mean, it kinda does, but there's a huge problem with it. The problem is that no matter how creative or how frugal you are or how hard you try, there will always be a limit to how much money you can save. It will always be finite based on your income. Like if, for example, you made $50,000 a year, and let's say hypothetically you could somehow live entirely for free, no rent, no groceries, no nothing. You could still only save a maximum of $50,000 a year, which, to be fair, would actually be quite a lot of money to save. But of course, that's not realistic. In reality, what actually happens is first, you get taxed on that money, then you have to pay your rent or mortgage, then you buy food, put gas in your car, buy clothes, buy whatever else you need. And when all is said and done, at the end of the day, you're lucky if you could even save a couple $100 a month. This makes day-to-day life infinitely more difficult and makes it almost impossible for you to handle emergencies or any other kind of unexpected expense, and good luck ever retiring. Whether you're trying to pay off debt or build up your emergency fund or even save for some kind of big purchase, shopping on clearance racks and making your coffee at home is like trying to shovel snow with a teaspoon. Like technically you could do it, and I guess it's better than nothing, but it's going to take you a hell of a long time and a ton of effort. What you really need is a bigger shovel. If you've ever tried to DIY anything or start a new hobby of any sort, then you've probably realized how much easier everything becomes when you have the right tools. At some point last summer, I was trying to put up a light fixture, and I realized that I didn't have a wire stripper. So I did what any reasonable person would do and tried to strip the wire with my teeth, which definitely did not work. So I tried some kitchen scissors, and that also was a failure. And then I tried a bread knife, and that didn't really work. And I tried like a bunch of other random things that I had around the house. Eventually, I got it all sorted out, but when all was said and done, I had wasted over an hour trying to remove a tiny piece of rubber coating from this wire. And by this point, I was just beyond frustrated. I just did not want to deal with this thing at all. But this story gets even stupider, because I live less than 5 minutes from Home Depot. And my next door neighbor is an electrician. So I easily could have just gone to Home Depot and bought a wire stripper, or even just knocked on my neighbor's door and asked to borrow one. And in either case, I could have had the job done in seconds. But instead, I just decided to struggle and sweat and swear over the stupid thing for over an hour for no good reason at all. My God! Why must life be so hard? So what does this all have to do with saving money? Well, just like trying to do any other task without the right tools, focusing all your efforts in the wrong place will make saving money way harder than it needs to be. You can try as hard as you want to scrape little bits out of your budget here and there, but all that time and energy and effort would be far better utilized trying to increase your income instead, because there will always be a limit to how much money you can save, but there's no limit to how much money you can earn. This is something that I learned firsthand many years ago. As I mentioned, I've always been a natural saver, so I started aggressively putting money away as soon as I got my first job when I was a teenager. By the time that I was in my mid-20s, I had managed to save quite a bit of money. But looking back on it now, the amount of time and effort it took me to save that money was crazy because I wasn't making very much. I had a pretty low income. So there was only so much I could save, and I had to sacrifice a lot to make it happen. I didn't really mind it at the time because I was working towards some really big goals that I was absolutely determined to achieve no matter what. And eventually I did, so it was worth it. But I recognized even then that this wasn't a sustainable way to live long term. And looking back on it now, I can't help but wonder how much easier and faster it would have been, or how much more money I could have saved if I put some of that energy into trying to increase my income instead. But eventually, I did just that. I started upgrading my skills, I took on a couple side hustles to make some extra money, and over time, I built a business that would allow me to earn as much as I needed to or wanted to, based solely on how much I was willing to work. And when I did these things, everything changed. Think about it like this. If your goal was to save $1,000 a month, but let's say you only make $3,000 or $4,000 a month, that's going to be a really difficult thing to do. It's not going to leave you with much money to live on. But if instead you went out and started earning an extra $1,000 a month, you would immediately, instantly hit your goal without having to sacrifice anything at all. Side hustles have always been one of my favorite ways to earn extra money because they tend to offer a level of flexibility that you won't typically get from a traditional job. Things like the ability to work on your own schedule or work as much or as little as you want. Personally, I've done many different side hustles over the years with varying degrees of difficulty, but if you're looking for something to do where you can start earning money pretty much immediately, today's sponsor Lyft may be exactly what you're looking for. And ladies, this one's for us in particular. Driving with Lyft is an easy way to earn extra money on your own terms, and Lyft has a feature called Women Plus Connect, which allows women and non-binary drivers to opt in to matching more often with other women and non-binary riders for a more comfortable experience all around. As a driver, you can toggle this feature on and off as you please right within the app. Whether you're just trying to make some extra cash outside of your 9-to-5 or hoping to escape the 9-to-5 altogether, driving with Lyft gives you the ability to work around your other priorities and obligations in a way that makes sense for you. Best of all is that all new drivers of any gender can earn a $400 bonus when they complete 40 rides in the first 7 days. That's an extra $400 in a single week alone. Just click the link below or head over to lyft.com/accordingtonicole, and thanks to Lyft for sponsoring this video. Okay, so let's say you're earning more money now. In fact, chances are that you are earning more money today than you were, say, 5 years ago. So why doesn't it feel any different? Why doesn't life feel any easier? Inflation is undeniably a thing. Things are obviously getting a lot more expensive all the time, so even if your spending habits haven't changed, chances are that your day-to-day expenses have increased quite a bit, which is exactly why you need to earn more money. But chances are that your spending habits have changed, even if you don't realize it. For most people, increasing their income just signals to the brain that it's okay to spend more. Maybe you feel more comfortable letting your guard down a bit when you see a bigger number in your checking account. Or maybe you tell yourself that you deserve a reward for all your hard work. And you're right, you do. The reward of not always being stressed about your bills. The reward of not having to freak out when something breaks unexpectedly. The reward of eventually being able to retire with dignity. I know. Boring! Hey, so I'm just editing this video right now. I just want to make a quick little point here. That little piece of B-roll clip you just saw where I was showing my bank account, I've used that clip a couple times, and every time I do, I get all of these comments that go, "Oh my God, she has $1 million." Or they go, "Hey, did you know that your account numbers are showing?" It is fake, okay? First of all, I do not have $1 million. Second of all, if I did, I would not be flaunting that on the internet. And third of all, I'm not stupid enough to put my account numbers on the internet, so calm down. The problem is that humans are impulsive and highly emotional creatures. We're really no more sophisticated than crows. We see shiny things and we want them, and all sense of logic and reason immediately goes out the window. Tortilla blanket? Need it. Ergonomic toenail clipper? Gotta have it. Socks that fit over the legs of your chairs? How could you possibly live without them? I am so glad to know that child labor not only exists, but that we're putting it to such amazing use, making these revolutionary products. Okay, I promise this won't just be a video dunking on Temu. I already did that. The good news is that we can actually leverage these emotional tendencies to our advantage. Instead of setting vague goals like, I want to save more money, I want to pay off my debt, I want to increase my income. None of those things are goals at all, by the way, they're just platitudes at best. Instead, we can set very specific goals that are linked to very specific positive emotions, like, for example, the excitement of being able to go on a vacation or buy something special you've been saving up for a long time, or the sense of relief and accomplishment you feel when you pay off your credit cards. The reason that I've always been really good at saving money and that it's always felt pretty easy to me is only because I've always had a very specific thing in mind that I was saving for. Something that I was so unbelievably excited about that I kind of just didn't care about anything else. I basically emotionally manipulated myself in a good way to stay the course by constantly dangling that carrot just out of sight. When I was younger, that carrot was a guitar or a skateboard or a bike. And then when I got a little bit older, it was an iPhone or a laptop, and then eventually a car, and then eventually a house. But having those very specific goals and gradually seeing myself getting closer and closer to them not only made saving money feel easy, but, and I know this is going to sound weird, it actually made work feel exciting. Like every extra shift I could pick up or every extra $100 I made here and there just got me that much closer to my goal, and that's all I cared about. Watching that number go up in your savings account is addictive like a video game, like first reaching your first $1,000 and then your first $10,000 and then $25,000. And when you're seeing that happen and you're in the midst of it, there is no part of you that wants to stop that momentum to buy some shit you saw on TikTok.
Oh God, it's so unnecessary.
Oh, you have excellent taste.
Imagine how you would feel if you woke up tomorrow morning and owed nothing to no one. Yes, I know that's a double negative, shut up. If your bills were paid, your fridge was full, you had a full tank of gas in your car, and you had a little extra money tucked away for anything else that might pop up, how would that affect the way you live your life? How would that affect the way you feel every day? When you're no longer living paycheck to paycheck, and you have a well-stocked emergency fund and a couple little sources of side income coming in here and there, and just all your basic needs met, you look at the world differently. So all of that is to say that if saving money feels impossible to you, it's probably because you've been working harder when you need to be working smarter. A dull knife makes cooking feel impossible. Your teeth, as it turns out, are not a great home improvement tool. And trying to cut out every little bit of enjoyment from your life is not a good way to try to save money. Instead, level up your skills or get a side hustle and start making some extra money. Set a specific goal for that money. Decide exactly what its job is, put it to work, and go live your life like nothing's changed, while everything actually changes for the better. If you enjoyed this video at all, please go ahead and hit that like button. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't done so yet. You can follow me on Instagram at according_to_Nicole. Leave me a comment down below and let me know what your current savings goal is and what you're doing to get there. Other than that, thank you guys so much as always for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time.